Fasten your seatbelts for the realest Eagles and Sixers YouTuber! One who plays no clickbait and gets to the point! The myth, the legend, Nicky Stees! Come to my channel, you know the deal. Yo, boy, always keeps things real. Top 50 statue, think they slate, dropping unrealistic man, 2K takes for the clip. Even though cats like that get views closer to the milli, never hear me preach, look on to Philly. Before you watch the Eagles all the way through the early 22, authentic talk, forget what others do. Come to my channel, you know the deal. Yo, boy, always keeps things real. The 24/7, 365 way. Sports content for the reals to fill the day. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is your boy Nicky Stees here, and we are live for episode 20 of the 3-Point Blitz. We started this thing late winter, early spring. Now here we are, midsummer, the last Tuesday in August. It's episode 20, folks. We've come a long way. Cheers to episode 20. I got some sparkling water. Let's dive into this, folks. And today, it's the first 3-Point Blitz after the start of NFL training camp. So we're going to mostly base this on the NFL. Now, unfortunately, there was a tragedy last night involving the NFL world. We're going to talk about that just to get the negativity out the way with our annual rant of the week to start off the show. So let's just do the rant of the week, get the negativity out the way. Then we'll move on to the positive talk. Let's start it. Some of you guys may know this, you may not know this. This happened apparently last night down in New York City. The NFL was involved in a huge situation. Apparently, a gunman killed 4, including a police officer, at a shooting at NYC building housing NFL headquarters. So that's why we're talking about this here. The articles posted on ESPN indicated that 4 people, including an off-duty New York City officer, were killed at a Manhattan building that houses National Football League offices. So unfortunately, this did involve the NFL. And we're hearing that the gunman, Shane Tamura of Las Vegas, had documented mental illness, and supposedly he was going there looking to target some of the people from the NFL involved in this. And sadly, one of the people involved was someone involved in the NFL. It currently came out late Monday. Roger Goodell reported that the NFL employee was seriously injured. He's currently in the hospital in stable condition, so he wasn't killed. I haven't seen that employee's name yet, but this is obviously a sick story right here. And we're just going to rant about, obviously, number one, the senselessness. Come on, man. Shooting and killing numerous people over your own problems, killing people that have nothing to do with your issues. It just, since it's sickening, it's lawless, and it should offend and bother everyone. It could, because we've seen way too many times, time after time after time, too many innocent people, or too many people. Some of you may have family members that have been involved in this before. Too many times innocent people get targeted by psychopaths over something they had nothing to do with. Truly is sickening, and it happens way too often in this society. Now, they're saying that the gunman had a history of mental illness, but at some point, that excuse has got to go out the water. At some point, how do these people constantly get their hands on guns? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. What are we doing to take measures to stop this from happening? How are we taking ways to stop people from making sure that mentally ill people who are unable to handle weapons and do so responsibly, how do we stop them from getting their hands on these weapons? That's the issue we got to talk about here. Instead of continuing to blame the mental illness, how do we stop this from happening? That's what we really need to focus on. It's sickening. Like I said, it could happen. It's sad that we live in a world where you go out in public, you go to your job, or you go out grocery shopping, or you go to the movie theaters to enjoy a movie, or a night out with family, or take your kids to school. There's the risk that somebody could get shot and killed. And it happened yesterday with several employees at a New York building that involved the NFL. It's sickening. We need to find ways to stop people with mental illness from getting their hands on guns. You know, whether it be people who buy weapons and distribute them to people who are unfit mentally to carry them. In some way, shape, or form, it's sickening. It needs to stop. Like I said, it can affect anybody. I mean, that's really my rant right here. Wanted to come on here, get off my head. Last thing I'll say is rest in peace to all the victims, and obviously send my condolences to the loved ones of the victims who are affected by this. Stop real quickly. I'm going to have a brief moment of silence for all the victims. Then we're going to move on. Now we're going to switch gears now that we got that out the way. Now, I know some of you guys have been talking about this. I'm not going to say a whole lot about it. I'm going to keep my thoughts kind of brief on this Cam Newton versus Jalen Hurts debate. It all started, you guys know, Cam Newton talked about Jalen Hurts. He doesn't believe Hurts is a top 10 QB because he has all the right talent around him, which I think which in itself is ludicrous. Hear me out. Now, is it true that having A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, an excellent offensive line, excellent defense, and Saquon Barkley, does that help? Certainly. It always does help to have those pieces there. But with that being said, though, the quarterback still has to deliver. Because you could take that same Eagles team. Not any quarterback in the world is going to lead that team to multiple Super Bowls. You could put a Daniel Jones in that spot. Do you think that team's going anywhere near a Super Bowl with Daniel Jones? No. It would be more like the 2022 Giants, where they could make the playoffs but would be held back by quarterbacking. Or even you take a guy, like you remember when Matt Schaub was I'm just skipping around. Like if you go in a time machine, take Houston Texans Matt Schaub. You think he's leading that team to a Super Bowl? No. Or you think a guy like a Sam Darnold? No, while he may play excellent during the regular season, he wouldn't lead that team to a Super Bowl. Dak Prescott, based off his playoff track record, based off what he did have a few years back with the Cowboys, where he had an excellent team around him but couldn't do anything in the playoffs, I'd say the answer is no. So yes, while Jalen Hurts has the benefit of all the right talent around him, Cam Newton's also got to consider the quarterback has to be able to deliver as well. If the quarterback isn't that good, it stops the team from reaching its potential. And Arcus chimes in, Hurts is a top 10 QB, but the roster was the main reason they won. And absolutely, that's always going to be the case in any situation. You take the entire 53-man roster, that always helps no matter who the quarterback is. Now, you take a look, even with some of the all-time great quarterbacks, you had guys like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Joe Montana. When they won their Super Bowls, did those quarterbacks play a big role in it? Absolutely, but it wasn't just those guys. It was the talent around them. Even with the case of a guy like Joe Montana, you had Roger Craig as a running back. He had Jerry Rice, the greatest wide receiver. He had Ronnie Lott, one of the top 3 greatest free safeties in NFL history on that defense. You had Bill Walsh, one of the greatest coaches. So all of these factors to play in. Take a look at the Miami Dolphins with Dan Marino. Marino is considered one of the all-time greats, but they didn't really have any all-time great teams. And that played a role in why Dan Marino didn't win a Super Bowl with the Miami Dolphins. So you got to have all the pieces there. Having the right quarterback plays a key role, but you got to have the rest of the team as well. And Arku does bring up a great point. Well, like I said, with Cam Newton's point, saying, well, Hurts benefits from the team, so that's why he can't be a top 10. The quarterback has to be able to deliver too. Like I said, you could take that same team, put a Sam Darnold or a Daniel Jones there. They're not reaching a Super Bowl, so the quarterback has to be able to deliver. I'll even use a few historical examples. The 95 Detroit Lions had Herman Moore, who was excellent for them that season. Barry Sanders, one of the top 5 greatest running backs of all time, but Scott Mitchell was their quarterback. In a loaded NFC at the time where you had Steve Young with the Niners, Aikman with the Cowboys, and Favre just coming into his peak with the Packers. So that was one example where a team that had potential was held back by quarterbacking. See the Tennessee Titans with Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown. You had Ryan Tannehill was the weak link. If they would have had a better quarterback, that team may have had a shot at a championship run. So the quarterback does play a role in it as well. So that's where Cam Newton's falls short for not being able to see that the quarterback's role comes in handy. But now the debate has come, who was better individually, Prime Cam or Jalen Hurts? Now, I could say possibly that Prime Cam was the better quarterback, but if you think that's the case, that doesn't bother me one bit because Eagles won a Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts as the quarterback. Now, for Cam Newton himself, I feel like his content as a whole, in part, it has to do with the fact he's not happy the way his NFL career finished, which is certainly understandable. It certainly is, because here was a guy who won Rookie of the Year, got to a Super Bowl, had a regular season MVP, then shoulder injuries derailed his peak before he could have a shot at another shot to win a ring. So I get Cam's not happy about that. But at the same time, the way he's trying to, it feels like he's taking shots at Hurts to some degree because he wishes he had what Jalen Hurts did. Now, maybe in an alternate timeline, if Cam Newton had the same team, could he have won a Super Bowl? Possibly. But that just wasn't meant to be, man. But I feel like to some degree, Cam Newton's taking his frustrations about the way his career ended and putting it out there to the public to generate clicks and generate revenue, which from a business standpoint, kind of an evil genius move for Cam Newton. It keeps him relevant. It gets him to push content out there and gets people talking about him, which is what I'm doing right now, of course. But I have to disagree with the idea that he's putting out that Jalen Hurts is not a top 10 QB. And the more I listen to him, it kind of does sound like he's being bitter. Because it seems like no matter what, he's always got something to say about other quarterbacks. Like, oh, Brock Purdy's just a game manager. Tua's just a game manager, which I'm not saying that's necessarily false. What I'm saying is it seems like anytime his opinion comes up, it's usually something negative. There's only so many times you can criticize players before it's like, okay, now you just sound like the negative Nancy talking down on people. And I feel like Cam, in part, to him not being happy with where his career finished, and he's using that to generate clicks. So that's where I leave that. I really don't care either way who was better in their prime. Even though Cam Newton, like I said, if he would have had Hurts' team, he may have had a shot at a ring or two. And if Hurts had Cam's team, I don't think he would do as well. So I do feel like that is a factor, but I don't care personally. If it's true that Prime Cam was better, that's perfectly okay with me. My team won a Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts. We've been to 2 Super Bowls with him. I'm perfectly content with having Jalen Hurts as my quarterback. So I'll leave it at that. If people want to keep discussing it, by all means, go right ahead. But I'm going to move along here. And while we're still on the subject of top 10 NFL QBs, I'm going to do something a little fun here. I'm going to give you my list of top 10 QBs headed into the 2025 season. Now, this is just who I see and who I feel are the top 10 going into the season. personally. You guys are more than welcome to comment. Let me know which choices you agree or disagree with. And I'm all more than happy to have this discussion with you guys in the chat. Meanwhile, I created a presentation through Canva. I'm going to pull up the presentation, share the screen with you guys, counting down from my 10 to 1. And I'll let you guys chime in. So with that being said, let's have a little bit of fun here. Give you my top 10 QBs. We're going to start with my number 10 is Baker Mayfield for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield, let's face it, the man has talent. Whether you like him or not, you could say he's a little bit overrated, but Baker Mayfield is a pretty good quarterback. Look at what he's done with Tampa Bay. He's led them to multiple playoff appearances, he's played pretty solid. And even in Cleveland, his rookie year, he showed some flashes of promise in that 2020 season when the Browns made the playoffs 11-5. He had a pretty solid season. Baker Mayfield has had numerous good seasons throughout his NFL career. Nearly won Rookie of the Year, had a good 2021 campaign, has had a few solid seasons with the Bucs. And even with the Rams, even though it didn't translate to wins, Baker Mayfield did play solid with the Rams, considering that team was injured to hell and back in the 2022 season. So with that being said, though, the thing is with Baker, the only reason I got him at number 10 is because he hasn't done anything significant come playoff time, or hasn't led the Bucs to being more than a solid regular season team. Like I said, he's a good quarterback, but hasn't done anything significant, even with good weapons around him. And he's the successor to Tom Brady, but has not been able to lead them to the same success Brady did during his brief stint with them. So I got to put him at number 10 only because he hasn't done anything more than be a good regular season quarterback. Moving on to number 9, I got to go with Stathu Patford, a.k.a. Matthew Stafford. Hey, man, Matthew Stafford is still one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. And he's managed to find ways with this Rams team to consist when he's healthy to at least lead them to the playoffs. He did help play a role in that Super Bowl run the first go around. Now, I don't think he was the main reason they won, but he was good enough. And Matthew Stafford, when healthy, is still good enough to at least get this Rams team to the playoffs, whether that be NFC West champions or as a wild card team. And as long as Stafford's there and he's healthy, the Rams are not a team necessarily to sleep on. Wait a minute. Is that? Wait. Hold on a sec. But yeah, wait. But either way, Matthew Stafford, though, man, whether that's, Goff or not, that's, hey, it's the bottom line is at the end of the day, let's keep it real. Matthew Stafford is still, and he's the number 9 quarterback list because he's still a good force that can at least keep the Rams in the mix, but I don't see him as the guy that's going to lead another Super Bowl run or be an elite quarterback at this point in his career. Plus, every year, the knock against him is he always misses some time due to injury. He'll usually come back, rally the Rams late, but there's always going to be that midpoint of the season he's out. So for that right there and the fact he hasn't led the Rams to another deep playoff run, I can't consider him a top 5 or an elite quarterback at this point. I just have him as a good quarterback. Moving on to number 8, that is Jared Goff for the Detroit Lions. Now, some people might think I'm ranking him a little too low, but in this case, with Goff with the Lions, I think the guy's kind of overrated. When you look at his playoff track record, that's why I moved Goff down to number 8 as opposed to the top 5 or number 6, because Jared Goff during the regular season plays well with the weapons around him, with that excellent running game. Detroit Lions have built up a phenomenal team, and Jared Goff plays well with them. But the thin knock against him is, come playoff time, he struggles. See what happened last year against the Commanders. Multiple turnover game, and see the game against the 49ers, the conference championship the previous year. When the Lions were up at halftime and looked like they were on the verge of their first Super Bowl appearance, what happened in the second half? The whole team, including Jared Goff, kind of collapsed. So while Jared Goff can certainly be a good quarterback, he is a gunslinger, but when the pressure's on, Jared Goff does not deliver. And that includes when he was with the Rams. See what happened with that great 2018 offense in Super Bowl 53. They only scored 3 points behind Jared Goff. And now you see with the Lions, they've got a couple times they make deep playoff runs, but ultimately choke. So Goff is certainly a good quarterback, but I can't consider him a top quarterback with his playoff track record. I mean, you'll certainly see during the regular season that team's healthy. Jared Goff will have some great statistical performances. Lions will be a formidable force in the NFC, but I don't trust him come playoff time. And that's why I got him at number 8. Number 7, I'll go with Justin Herbert. Now, Justin Herbert does have a similar he's in a similar situation with Goff where kind of struggles come playoff time, but I give Herbert a little more benefit of the doubt because what great wide receivers has Justin Herbert had? I give Goff more flack because he has better weapons around him than Herbert. Whereas Justin Herbert, he's still easily, like I said, a top 10 quarterback. I got him at number 7. And he's still one of the main reasons why the Los Angeles Chargers are consistently in the mix or do make the playoffs when he's healthy. But I still feel like he's got to do something come playoff time. I just need to see that spark from him come playoff time. And in big games too, like particularly against Kansas City. They'll be competitive, but they just won't pull out the extra. They just won't take the extra step to win those games. So to some degree, I put that on Herbert, but I kind of give him the benefit of the doubt because he doesn't have the best receivers in the world. So that's why I put him ahead of Jared Goff, because I do believe a quarterback with Justin Herbert's talent would have a better shot at getting a team like the Detroit Lions somewhere. But based off his playoff track record so far, I'm kind of iffy on that take. But Herbert's still a top 10 quarterback and consistently has kept the Chargers in the mix when healthy without really that many wide receivers to work with. So I got him at number 7, but I still got to see Herbert win a few big games and possibly win at least 1 or 2 playoff games before I rank him higher on this list. But as of now, Justin Herbert, I got him at number 7. Still one of the top QBs. Number 6, I'm going with Jayden Daniels. The reason why is because he's only entering his second season. Now, he had a great rookie season. Now, if Jayden Daniels can repeat his rookie efforts, and this team maybe even wins the division, maybe gets a home playoff game or 2, then maybe I would put him higher on the list come next season. But as of now, I got him at number 6 because there are other quarterbacks that have a higher proven track record. But Jayden Daniels still gets on here because he had a phenomenal rookie season. Took a Washington Commanders team dead in the water with little expectations, led where they were 1 game shy of a Super Bowl berth. And they defeated the number 1 seed Detroit Lions on the road in the divisional round. For that's an impressive turnaround, especially considering what Jayden Daniels had. Now, for his sake, if he doesn't have the CJ Stroud sophomore slump, then, hey, like I said, he might go higher on this list. But as of now, I got him at number 6 just because I got 5 other quarterbacks with a better track record than Jayden Daniels. But still, easily going to be one of the top subjects of the NFL heading this season. Amazing thrower, can also run the ball as well. And Washington will be a threat headed into the season. If he can repeat his efforts of his rookie season, maybe a Super Bowl run, maybe. But that remains to be determined. They still got to go through us, the Lions, and if the 49ers return healthy, they'll be a threat as well. But time will tell on that. But Jayden Daniels gives the Commanders a shot. Number 5, my guy, Jalen Hurts. Now, I put him ahead some of the other guys. Some people might think I'm ranking him too high, but I got him at number 5 because let's not forget, in 2 Super Bowl appearances, Jalen Hurts has had 2 of the best performances in his career. Even though even though, and I believe Arku's referring to Daniels on that one, like I said, but Hurts in those two Super Bowl performances delivered two of the best performances of his career, especially last time around when they won and he was the MVP. So yes, Jalen Hurts doesn't have the greatest stats in the world, but he knows how to deliver with the weapons he has. He can make those plays with his feet when needed to. And people want to say, oh, the tush push, it's just him benefiting from being in the right situation. Okay, well, how many times, look, the Eagles get there so many times. They don't just magically place the ball 1 yard short of the end zone or 1 yard short of the first down marker and say, here, tush push. Jalen Hurts plays a role in leading the team into situations where they have that favorable tush push play to begin with. And not to mention, Jalen Hurts has played good enough, like I said, with the team around him. He has the right weapons. He didn't find a way to screw it up last year. He didn't screw it up in 2023, minus that fumble in the Super Bowl. But even then, what you say, well, what about the 2023 season? I put that on the whole team, not just with the quarterback. But at the end of the day, look, Jalen Hurts has found ways to win with this team around him, and he's played well in clutch situations. So I got him as my number 5 for that right there. Now, and then my number 4, I got Joe Burrow. Hey, Joe Burrow, man. I feel like Joe Burrow, he's one. If that Bengals team had a better defense, he would have possibly had a shot at another Super Bowl run by now. That was the biggest Achilles heel for them last year. They started winning games later in the season, but it was a little too late. But early in the season, when they lost a lot of close games, that was mainly off the backs of their defense. So I can give Burrow some benefit of the doubt. Not to mention, he already led the Bengals to 2 conference championship games. And in his first season fully healthy, he led them to a Super Bowl appearance that they were in the game the whole time and nearly won. So you got to remember, there's those 2 full seasons, first 2 full seasons Burrow's career, back-to-back conference championships, and almost got him a Super Bowl win. And then last year, he played great statistically, but obviously was the victim of poor defense early on. And just you look at his overall track record, Burrow has consistently dominated when he's healthy. He knows how to make the most of that team around him. And if the Bengals can sharpen up their defense, maybe they could have a shot at getting back into contention. So for that, I got to individually consider Burrow a better QB than Hurts individually, which is why I rank him as number 4. But there's 3 other guys who have a better track record. Gone. Number 3, I got Josh Allen. I attempted putting him at number 2, but the knock against Josh Allen is only 2 things. Playoff record against Kansas City, and in past seasons, he's been turnover prone. Now, last year, he had that MVP season. He limited the turnovers. He balled out and carried a Buffalo Bills team that some thought would regress to the conference championship game. So that's why I got him at number 3 over Jalen Hurts, over Joe Burrow, over those guys. So that's why I got him as number 3 based on that MVP season. If he can repeat his efforts from last year, they have a shot at contending as long as they can beat their kryptonite in the playoffs. But yeah, Josh Allen, now Moo is obviously the heart and soul of that franchise. And I put him at number 3 because, like I said, I think you guys know who number 1 is. And number 2 has multiple regular season MVPs over this guy. I think you know who that is. That's Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, when fully healthy, has consistently dominated. Now, his biggest Achilles heel, similar to Josh Allen, is the playoffs. But regular season-wise, as long as Lamar's healthy, the Ravens are going to have a shot. Now, I do feel like Lamar is the better overall individual player than Josh Allen when both are fully healthy. That's why I got him at number 2. Like I said, he's won 2 regular season MVPs. And some might argue that maybe he should have won a 3rd last year. I even heard some make that argument. And you could make a valid point because he had an excellent season last year. He even was statistically, he was better in 2024 than 2023 when he won that 2nd regular season MVP. like I said, consistently, when Lamar's healthy, the Ravens have always been a threat. They always have dominated the regular season. And even those 2 seasons he got injured when they collapsed late, they started off hot with Lamar healthy. And for, like I said, it's just that consistent regular season domination. I got him at number 2, but the playoffs are the thing that stop him from being number 1. So I got one other person ahead of him. It's pretty obvious. Patrick Mahomes. Let's face it. He's led the Chiefs to 5 Super Bowl appearances, 7 straight conference championship games in his 7 seasons as a starter. They've won 3 out of the 5. Easily the most dominant quarterback in the league. Even the last 2 seasons, even when he didn't have great statistics, he found a way to get Kansas City to the Super Bowl in play well, great and well enough come playoff time. It's obvious Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL today, and easily a top 5 all-time already. Even if that dude were to retire today, he would be a top 5 all-time. So whether you like Patrick Mahomes or not, you like what he resembles or not, he's easily the top quarterback in the NFL today. Statistically, sometimes, may not always be the greatest, but when you look at what the team has done with him in Kansas City, especially after that 2022 offseason where they lost Tyreek Hill, we thought they'd take a step back. No, what have they done? They've been to 3 straight Super Bowls and won 2 out of those 3. And Patrick Mahomes has been the leading force behind it. So whether you like the man or not, he's the top quarterback headed into this season. So there's my top 10 quarterbacks headed into the 2025 NFL season. We'll see how that holds up. Maybe we'll come back by October or November. I might do a mid-season top 10 QB ranking. It'll change up based on how they perform, but that'll come then. But that's my top 10 QBs headed into the season as of now. Now, some of you might be thinking about CJ Stroud. If this was a top 15, I may have had him at 11, but because of that sophomore slump, I don't have him as a top 10. Now, if he rebounds from the sophomore slump, he would move back into the top 10, but that remains to be determined. What I'm going to do is just take a quick couple-minute break. Then we're going to talk a little bit about NFL training camp. So, guys, stay tuned. Your boy will be right back. All right, folks, your boy is back. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the NFL training camp. It opened last week. So all the teams came back. Now, this is only the first week of training camp, but with that being said, it's the start of football season again. And even though, I do think sometimes people overreact to the first week. There's still always going to be something to talk about. Always. You can always point to something. You can point to this story or this story and say, oh, here's something we could talk about. There's always going to be that there. And look, I found a few stories we could discuss and get into, break it down. So I'm just going to go through some of the main stories so far. Now, let's start with the Christian Wilkins story. This is kind of a bizarre but hilarious story as well. I don't know if it's hilarious or stupid or both. I think it's both. So, Christian Wilkins got released from the Raiders, which at first seemed it was a little bit odd at first, but then more information came out. We found out the reason why Christian Wilkins got released is because apparently he tried to place a friendly kiss on one of his teammates' forehead, which the other teammate took offense to. Now, as far as the incident itself goes, look, that was stupid in and of itself. To go around, the way he just went up, planted a kiss on his teammate, it's like, dude, why would you go and do that to another teammate? To me, that's ridiculous. It's stupid. Come on. Look, most people don't like when you walk up to them and just go, hey. 9 times out of 10, that's not going to go over well. I understand it may be a prank, but you got to look at it from other people's perspective too. Some people are going to say, oh, it's just his teammate being soft. It's this or that. That's so dumb. Think about it. If you're at your job and another dude walks up to you and just randomly puts a kiss on your forehead, how are you going to feel about it? Obviously, you wouldn't be a fan of it now, would you? Obviously, you would have a problem with it. So, yeah, that just right there is just so stupid with Christian Wilkins. Clearly, he wasn't thinking. He wasn't using his head. If you want to have fun with people, by all means, have fun, joke around, clown around. But when it comes to doing something, you got to think before you act and stop. Okay, maybe this might be going too far. This could be offensive. Before you go there, think about it. Think about what you're going to say or do before you act, at least. And if you take some, and that's what Christian Wilkins came short. I understand sometimes you may intend something as a joke, but we've seen plenty of situations where your intentions end up having a significant effect on others. Boneheaded move, and I hope he learns a lesson from it. That you, if you're going to play jokes on people, take some time to think before you act. Now, with some of the other news we're going to go through real quickly, training camps, some of the more detailed breakdowns of injuries that have occurred. Cowboys offensive tackle Tyler Guyton was believed to have a torn ACL or knee injury in practice. That would put him out for the season for sure. And then the Giants, you got wide receiver Bryce Ford Wheaton's out for the season after an Achilles tear. Justin Jefferson for the Vikings had a mild hamstring strain. He's only going to be out for about a week. And then the Browns, Kenny Pickett is reported to be out with a hamstring injury, which for the Browns, that opens up the door a little bit for who's going to be the starter early on, because you got, 3 other quarterbacks competing there, including Flacco, Shedeur Sanders, and who's the other quarterback real quickly? If you guys remember in the comments, feel free to chime in. But yeah, but the Browns right there. Well, if too many quarterbacks right there. What's his name? Yeah, Dylan Gabriel. That's who it was. But yeah, that opens the door between Gabriel, Flacco, and Shedeur to get some reps. And then you did have Justin Fields. He did dislocate his toe, but he's back at practice. And that's not, it's only the first week of camp. He will return, but still, a quarterback with a dislocated toe, constantly running on it, moving around on that toe, that's not good. That's not good for the team. And that's where that can be a problem right there. And hopefully, though, for Fields, he should be okay come regular season time. But the question is now, what is Justin Fields going to do? But that created my poll question on my channel. Which team is the QB death factory for the NFL? Meaning, which team has the worst luck with quarterbacks? Is it the Bears, the Browns, or the Jets? Because it usually seems like all three have some form of bad luck. You already saw the Browns had one quarterback out. The Jets had another quarterback get injured in training camp. And that doesn't bode well for them. Then you have for the Seahawks, Kenny McIntosh was placed on the injured reserve with a knee injury. So we've had a few injuries early on. There's nothing really, like the most notable story is that the Broncos waived Justin Simmons. Now, some people in the Eagles fan base are going to push, should we get Justin Simmons to fill the safety room? Should we? Now, before we get into it, because I know Eagles fans, particularly Philly fans in general, they'll always chime at the bit to get this guy or this guy. It's not just Eagles. It can be Sixers too. But in this case, we're talking the Eagles. My take is for Justin Simmons, I think if Justin Simmons, they bring him in on the veteran minimum, then maybe, hey, I'm in favor of it. If it's the veteran minimum, but I'm not going to want him to a long-term contract. I don't feel that's right. Maybe for the veteran minimum to fill a gap, I'm okay with it, but I don't see it as a long-term option. And we want to say one other thing about training camp, because I know the first week when different news stories get published, people are going to talk about it. Like I know ESPN, because they love to talk about the Cowboys, are chiming in about how George Pickens is playing great. He's fitting in well. Number one, it's the first week of training camp. Number two, Let's wait and see what Pickens does during the regular season. And when I say that, I am not saying that George Pickens is going to flop. Oh, no, no. I do think Pickens has potential with this Cowboys team alongside CeeDee Lamb. They can be a threat in the passing game. What I'm saying is let's wait till it actually plays out during the regular season before we start talking about, George Pickens is going to do well. Let's see him in actual game time first. But the second question is, can George Pickens stay healthy? Can him and CeeDee Lamb stay healthy throughout the season? Can the Cowboys keep their chemistry going? Will Pickens stay on the same page with his teammates throughout the season? And those are the real questions we need to be asking. And only time will tell. Time will tell if that plays out or not. But with that being said, though, I'll say that. Let's just wait before the season starts. I don't think we should all overreact immediately to highlights or news reports about how great this player is doing in camp, how great this is going. We got to wait till these guys step on the field and see what they can do. Let's see what they deliver during the season. Let's see how they play before we chime on in, before we say, oh, this player's going to do great, or this guy's going to do this, or this guy's going to do that. Let's wait and see first. Like I always say, don't believe the hype, believe the results. So, that's all we got for this one right here. Unfortunately, I couldn't come up with an LOL of the weeks, and we're going to have to scrap it for this week. If I can't think of one next week, we might just scrap the LOL of the week segment. But as of now, man, I want to thank everyone that stopped by in the chat. Arku, David, everyone else that stopped by, whether you stopped for the whole stream or part of the stream. Thank you for stopping by. For those that voted on the poll on my channel, stream, I had polled which team is the biggest NFL QB death factory. I got 2 votes on that poll. Thank you to those that voted. Thanks to everyone that dropped a like and tuned in, whether it was for a minute, couple minutes, quarter of the stream, the whole stream. If you stopped by in the stream and caught any bit of it, you're awesome. Your support is the reason I keep doing these streams. So I thank you for your support. With that being said, folks, have a great rest of your day. It's your boy, Nicky Stees, signing off. Please, if you're out there in the heat, stay hydrated. Have a great day. Until next time, Nicky Stees signing off. Peace.